Hi, I'm Laura D. Pusey, the founder of Dippism, Death in Practice. And this is the channel where we are talking the things on dying and death, life and grief. Each week I answer a question and I say it as I see it, 'cause I've seen a lot. In the last video, I answered the question, did I get it wrong? If you have any questions about that video or you want me to answer a question for you, send me an email at deathinpractice@gmail.com. Okay, let us now open the veil of luminescence. With the intention of infinite truths, by the pulse of sacred light, I call forth the veil of luminescence. I anchor this veil in sovereign light to transmute and contain all energetic imprints, attachments, and residues across all realms. The material plane, where grief etches into the body. The emotional plane, where sorrow swells and purges. The mental plane, where stories of loss seek resolution. The astral plane, where echoes of the departed linger. The interdimensional corridors, where ancestral and cosmic threads intertwine. The parallel universes, where grief and grace mirror each other. This veil, woven of remembrance and radiance, is encoded with clarity to discern what is yours and what is not. Containment to protect your field. Compassion to honour the sacred work of grief. Transmutation to alchemize pain into wisdom. Let this veil shimmer between worlds, holding space for the divinity of each soul, the teachings where presence dissolves suffering, the soul's awakening where death births depth, the healing where grief becomes grace. This veil is not a wall but a sacred membrane, allowing only what aligns with truth, love, and remembrance to pass through. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I seal this veil with sovereignty and light. All right, Chuck. Sometimes we experience a loss that is deeply grieving due to the nature of the death. In this video, we are going to discuss whether it is necessary to forgive. We may be called to forgive someone or a group of people for a variety of reasons. And whilst I would love to go into deep detail, I think it's better for us to focus on forgiveness from the perspective of losing a loved one. Perhaps what I say will help with a situation that doesn't involve death. And as this is a subject that can go on in so many different directions regarding death scenarios and life scenarios, I'm going to stay as generic as I possibly can, because at the end of the day, every situation is completely different. So, what does it mean to forgive someone? Well, according to the science of a meaningful life, forgiveness is a conscious, voluntary decision to release feelings of resentment, anger, and vengeance toward someone who has harmed you, regardless of whether they deserve it or not. It is an internal psychological process focused on personal healing, bringing peace of mind and allowing us to let go of our negative thoughts or habits. Forgiveness is both mental and moral. It's good for your mental health. It functions as a moral virtue that defines how we treat others. We are not necessarily excusing the offender, forgetting the act, or requiring a reconciliation. We are regaining our personal power and taking control of our own healing journey. Grief and forgiveness are often talked about together, but they are actually separate processes. When someone is grieving, whether it's from loss, betrayal, or a complicated relationship, their primary task is to process the pain, not to meet any moral expectation like forgiveness. Out of the two, grief comes first. You have to process the nature of the death, manage your emotions, and adjust to the new changes that the death creates in your life. Forgiveness allows us to feel lighter or less tied to the past. But you know what? There are no rules that say that you have to forgive. You can still heal, grow, and move forward. Sometimes what actually hurts is the feeling that things should have turned out differently and that all other options have now been deleted. When we can accept what has happened and let go of that disappointment, we can move forward. But we don't have to forgive for that to happen. Now, you may have heard of this guy called Charlie Kirk on social media. His wife Erica forgave his murderer just 11 days after he was assassinated in broad daylight. It was astonishing for many reasons, but mainly because she hadn't had the chance to fully grieve her primary nor secondary losses. People often need space to fully feel their anger or hurt before they can even consider forgiveness. That's if they ever do. And a social anxiety was felt throughout the American political communities as people grappled with their understanding of what grief is and how it might be acceptably experienced in the public eye. The understanding is that Erica was leaning on her Christian beliefs, but not every Christian would experience or express their interpretation of their religion in the same way. Christians often look to Jesus, who taught forgiveness repeatedly. The idea is that forgiveness reflects God's mercy as God forgives human sin, and therefore Christians are called to extend that same grace to others. Forgiveness is basically seen as an act of obedience to God and not just an emotional or psychological decision. Forgiveness is not about pretending the harm didn't happen or letting someone back into your life or avoiding justice or consequences. You can forgive and still feel grief and anger, and it doesn't mean that you can't seek legal accountability for the wrong that has been done. It's about freeing the heart, releasing resentment, avoiding being consumed by anger, and perhaps finding inner peace through God or whatever spiritual belief you cleave to. I have forgiven a great many people around the circumstances surrounding my upbringing and my parents' death. My forgiving them had nothing to do with them. I didn't reach out and make any magnificent gesture to let them know that I no longer held any energy against them. Instead, I used my energy to create Dippism, FACFO, the Grief and Loss Community Group, and of course, this channel. I don't care for them. I will never speak to them again, and in truth, our paths should never cross. But you know, life has a way of bringing those demons to the door at the most unexpected of times. In a way, I thank those arseholes for the opportunity that they gave me to help other people through my experiences. They have played a massive part in my life, and so I let them live. I must say that I am comforted by the fact that they too will die someday, as will I. But death is not a punishment. I've had apologies from beyond the grave. Some of our loved ones see the errors of their ways once they've laid their body aside. Again, it's entirely up to you whether you decide to forgive them or not. You came here to live. And maybe learning how to forgive was one of those things that you wanted to experience. Think about it. For all I know, there are people out there who have forgiven me or are holding up malice in their hearts toward me. A fit end business, that. If people want to sit and stew over your being, arm yourself with spiritual protection and go about your business. You can't make people love or forgive you. You can only strive to be a better you. Forgiveness can take time, and it may be a repeated choice, not just a one-time thing. Some people never feel fully ready, but might try to move toward it gradually. It's a journey, and it's entirely up to you, whatever you choose to do. Okay, let's wrap it up here. If you have any thoughts about anything in this video and you want to share your thoughts with me, then send me an email at deathinpractice@gmail.com. Please state clearly whether any of your email can be shared and tell me what your name is. If you would like to have a one-to-one with myself or one of my grief practitioners, contact us at www.dippism.com. The workbooks Tapestries of Grief and My Life's Tapestry are available on Amazon, and the basic Dippism end-of-life course that helps you to assist those at the end of their lives, and the Dippism Cultural Grief Awareness course that helps you to assist those who are grieving, are both now available online. If someone you know needs to see this video or would benefit from end-of-life or grief services, don't be a banana. I said Nani the other day, don't be a banana. Don't be a plum. Share the video with them, okay? And as always, make sure that you do your own research. Give it some real thought. Don't just go forgiving people willy-nilly, all right? Some people don't deserve it. Some people don't deserve your forgiveness. And you know what? You can forgive them and it won't make any difference to their lives because it's got nothing to do with them. It's all about you, okay? All of my boxes are in the description. You'd think I'd know this by now, innit? Off by heart. I have to stick to the script. All of my links are in the description box below. And now, let us close the veil of luminescence. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I honour the veil of luminescence now fulfilled. This veil, once summoned to transmute and contain, has held the field with clarity, compassion, and sovereign light. As the teachings settle and the soul integrates, I call forth the sacred closure of this veil across all realms. On the mental plane, let the body rest in renewal. On the emotional plane, let sorrow soften into spaciousness. On the mental plane, let stories find stillness. On the astral plane, let echoes return to source. Through interdimensional corridors, let threads untangle. Across spheres and planetary systems, allow contracts to be honoured and released. Let all residues now return to their rightful place, dissolved, dispersed, or transmuted by sovereign light. Let the veil fold inward, encoded with discernment to preserve what is true, containment to seal what is sacred, compassion to cradle what remains tender, and wisdom to carry forth what has been alchemized. This veil is reabsorbed into the soul's archive, a luminous record of presence, grief, and transformation. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I seal this veil with sovereignty and light.